Hello, dear beloveds. Well, I am coming to you this afternoon on this glorious Monday to talk about one of my favorite subjects. I am here to lead the revolution in excellence in the intuitive sciences, and that's what the Institute's mission is. And the reason why this matters to me is not just because I am a spiritual intuition geek, but because there's so much misinformation and kind of superficial dogma around intuition that has nothing to do with the truth of it, which is that it is our spiritual superpower. And so what I want to share with you today is a deeper understanding of both quantum physics and a very tiny part of quantum physics and the true nature of our highest form of intuition, which is non-local intuition, which is what intuitive intelligence is built on. So there are multiple kinds of intuition in the world, and most of what we talk about is biological. So when you read experiments and studies that have been done testing out, intuition, it's usually the discussion of biological forms of intuition, implicit knowledge and energetic sensitivity. But what really gets me excited, and the way that I train my third level priestesses, is in non-local intuition. So I'm going to read you a couple of definitions because I want you to get really clear on this, that we are not talking about something woo-woo that doesn't have a foundation. We're talking about something that is evidence-based and evidential in the highest kind of academic rigor, the standards of testing and understanding, but also drawing on quantum physics. And so we're talking about ideas here that are really the true nature of what we are and the true nature of consciousness. So my job is to get you to change your mind about what intuition is, so that we as a collective stop dismissing it and we recognize that intuitive intelligence is our highest form of intelligence. But we're not referring to consulting oracle cards or playing with pendulums or asking random questions that really mean nothing in the full scheme of our lives. We're talking about understanding what we and the universe is made from. So let's start with the definition of non-locality. All right, I'm just going to read this to you because it's important that we get these terms clear and correct. So non-locality is I guess, part of or a feature of quantum theory, and it describes the apparent ability of objects to instantaneously know about each other's state, even when separated by large distances, potentially even billions of light years, almost as if the universe at large instantaneously arranges its particles in anticipation of future events. Now, if that doesn't just blow your mind, then nothing will. And Einstein called this spooky action at a distance because, of course, he didn't have at that time as much understanding about the functionality of the quantum world as we do. But even in that definition, I hope you're beginning to hear how non-local intuition would function. So non-local intuition functions on the premise of the inherent interconnectedness of all consciousness, which is what we know to be true, this idea, this theory of everything, the quantum entanglement of all consciousness connected by the unified field is why and how intuition functions. Non-local intuition is, and I'm going to read from this little book here, which I wrote and I quite love, is defined by HeartMath as the type of intuition which refers to the knowledge or sense of something that cannot be explained by past or forgotten knowledge or by sensing environmental signals. So it's not empathy, it's not energetic sensitivity, it's not biological. It is out of this world. It is non-local. So it's not a local form of intuition, it's a non-local form of intuition. It has been suggested that the capacity to receive and process information about non-local events appears to be a property of all physical and biological organization, and this likely is because of an inherent interconnectedness of everything in the universe. So even though at the level of quantum physics that we are understanding it, this is a theory, we know as spiritual beings who are training our intuition all of the time that this inherent interconnectedness is real, and our capacity to access it can be increased through devotion and practice. So intuition, as I teach it, is an act of engineering or encoding consciousness, our capacity to communicate with the one mind, and our capacity to bring in that information into our local time and space so that we can understand it, share it, and make meaning out of our reality. But we're not accessing it through a kind of biological exchange, but by going into that non-local field, that one mind, what I might also call God, although arguably God is outside of the field, but we won't go down that rabbit hole today. That inherent interconnectedness is consciousness, and all that we are is consciousness. We are vibrating, not even particles, just vibrating, energy in motion, fields within fields within fields, and that is our true nature. There's no way around that either. That is quantum physics that has been known for more than 100 years. It is true, and it is how non-local intuition is able to function. So we're not solid matter beings communicating with other solid matter beings. We are vibrating fields that are in communion with every field around us, but ultimately as one, the one field, the one mind we are all part of. And what we understand about acausality is that we do not have to travel to the time and space where the information we want to access is available. Acausally and non-locally, we can access all that exists within the field at once, instantaneously, in whatever time and space location we are, because it is light. We are talking about vibration, energy, consciousness, light, information encoded in light. So there is no, what is the speed of light? It is beyond our capacity to understand in our human form, but that is how quickly information travels in the field. What we understand also about the field is that it is holographic. So the part contains the whole, and this is another reason why we can access information without having to travel to the time and space where that information is encoded. The part contains the whole. What does that mean? It means that even though I look like I am solid and that I am separate from everything around me, I am part of the whole, the one mind, and that I am not a small, tiny fragment of it. I contain all of the one mind within me, which is an illusion anyway, all at once. Okay, so I hope you're keeping up with me. Keep your heads going with this. This information is a core part of the training that I offer in the Initiate program, because we have to keep reminding ourselves as we go on this journey of awakening our intuition of what we're really dealing with, which is pure consciousness, not matter, not solid 3D reality, but accessing that non-local part of us, which is that 5D pure energy state. Let me just have a drink because I get pretty excited when I talk about this. Okay, so we are the part containing the whole, as above, so below, as within, so without. The three immutable laws go hand in hand with non-local intuition and all functioning, true functioning of the cosmos, which is why these three immutable laws also inform so much of what I teach in the Initiate program. When we understand the holographic nature of the cosmos and of ourself, we cannot doubt that intuition or intuitive intelligence is our birthright, it is our truth, it is our way of communicating, and it's simply up to us now to have the courage and the spiritual fierceness to train ourselves not to think in 3D matter form, limited, separate ideas, but to actually go into that infinite, unlimited consciousness. And that's, my life's work. My intention with my life is to wed us to our spiritual superpower, which is intuitive intelligence. And that's why, I show up and talk about this stuff so much. And I want you all to read about it and go and find the good science, because even though it is known, known. It isn't widely shared. And why is it not widely shared? Well, whenever there is information that could free our consciousness and emancipate us from believing in the prisons of the systems that we currently inhabit at a societal level, that information is not going to be made readily available because it would cause anarchy, which is exactly what we want at this point in time. We're already at a state of being where the whole of humanity is at a crossroads. And if we don't become a little bit anarchic, we're going to all drown in the status quo. And that's what we don't want. So yes, for me, it does feel like a revolution to bring this information into the mainstream and to take the spiritual community beyond the superficial understanding of what intuition is. Because if we keep aligning it with psychics and crystals and tarot cards, then we are doing ourselves a disservice. This is about moving beyond the limits of this perceived reality. It isn't about, to use my favorite quote, moving furniture in a burning building. We want to liberate our consciousness from the prison of belief, the prison of this reality. And intuition activation is the most powerful way to do that. And I'm so committed to taking this to the world that in September 26 to 29, I will be in Ireland on a little pilgrimage of my own as I return to my ancestral roots. And I would love for you to join me in this live training. It's a 2-day workshop. You can do it twice. I'll be in Limerick and Ballina, and I'll share all the details and the links in the comments, but I would love for you to come along with me if you feel called to. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and to me everything's local, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, just pop on over to Ireland and come on this pilgrimage into your intuitive intelligence with me, because it really will change everything. And yes, it is in my book. I do talk about it, and of course it's core to the Initiate program, which is the foundation for the 3rd level, where we actually become masters of non-local intuition and priestesses of that higher consciousness. Thank you so much for letting me talk to you about one of my favorite subjects. And if there's any questions you have, please pop them in the chat box and I'll do my best to answer them. It is such a privilege to serve you, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.